best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best? There is no second best.
Welcome in, Discover Crypto. I am Druth, and this is the Friday 2 p.m. show. We've been giving away crypto all day to the community, and now we got to take a look at some of the most bullish signals that I see going on Bitcoin, and I've used this same signal for years now to load up on altcoins when the getting is good, when the prices are low. It hasn't gone wrong for me yet, and I am not trying to change something that ain't broken. I'm going to be showing you this signal on the show today. Altcoins are looking quite bubbly. We have some old school altcoin projects that are starting to move into double-digit gains. We're going to see if the pump can hold as macroeconomic chaos pumps gold to new all-time highs, along with all of the precious metals looking very, very juicy. Now, welcome to the show, one and all. If you can, before we get started, hit the like button, share the show out with a friend. Let's get after it. It's Friday. I'm feeling frisky. Let's go. Make sure to follow me at Druth Crypto on Twitter. Here I am at Druth Crypto. And also, if you're watching the show and you're not subscribed, you disgust me. I'll just say that. I work very hard for you. You can give a subscribe. You can share it out. I'm here making the money, and we are starting back up our heavy trading, me and DZ. Things went great yesterday. Showed some restraint, been on air talking about all the macro news so far today, so I haven't had any open trades so far, but the quant in our Discord is giving some news signals out that I might have to take a look at as we get into this. And congratulations to NoobTube and Not Financial Advice. And I've gotten claims that this is insider move, but Kelly Kellum won $50 of Arena token for me today. I don't know how he did it. It is what it is. It wasn't rigged. It's a duck race. If you're not there, you're missing out. We do duck races every Friday. People win $50 in crypto. So let's check out the markets. Let's check out the news before we get too wrapped up in all the chaos here. And good morning, 8SDF, whatever the hell. Ryan, I think is your actual name. Fade and TradFi. Good to see you, brother. Crypto 278. When Night token streamer Ben we'll check out the Night token today. Absolutely. Nick Dunn making big claims here. The duck races are rigged. What are you talking about, Nick Dunn? Remember, this is my 2 p.m. show, and we can do as we
You are banned!
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh my God, the chat is just going nuts on me. Rick, mods, get him. Wait a minute. One of them, Nick is a mod. What am I going to do about this? Hold on. I can still put a mod in timeout. There we go. All right, let's check out the news. Bitcoin pumped $2,100 in 45 minutes this morning after the Supreme Court delayed the Trump tariff decision. The move liquidated $39 million in shorts. Now, there's a lot of betting to and from, and I really doubt. I am betting against the reversal of the Trump tariffs. That's me personally. I'm betting against this actually going down. So let's go check out Polymarket. DZ was looking at this morning. Tariff, Supreme Court. Let's see what the odds are. Supreme Court. I want to look and see what these. Okay. So Supreme Court rules in favor of Trump tariffs. This is where you can bet on if the Supreme Court is going to make Trump unwind all the tariff income that the U.S. has been pulling in. Do you see? Unsubscribing just to feel something. Unbelievable. Yo, employees should have equal rights. And shout out to you, Elise. You're one of the best community members out there. I did send you a DM. I think you got back to me, but we got some. I feel very giving. Okay, so I've been reaching out to my favorite people, and it's a season of giving. What can I say? Much love to you, Elise. Thanks for supporting the channel. Now, Supreme Court rules in favor of the Trump tariffs. This has a 26% likelihood of the Supreme Court being on Trump's side. Now, what I reckon here is that if we see the Trump tariffs reversed, that is a massive sign of weakness of the American dominance across the planet. It's not going to happen. So I see this poly market opportunity, and I think I'm going to take some stable coins and bet against this. I really do think that the Supreme Court has no choice but to back Trump, move forward bravely. And there's a lot of macroeconomic reasons why that I'm going to cover on today's show today. I'm not going to, I already covered the stuff going on in the US with the Honda Pilot and all that stuff. It was a 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time show that I just did. So if you want to check that out, check it out after the show here. Clearly self-defense. Now let's check out the Bitcoin chart. Let's check where we're at now here. Trump ain't undoing. No, I don't think Supreme Court's undoing Trump stuff, you know. So let's have a sip together. Hold on. I need more caffeine. Hold on. We're going to take caffeine together. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to take the family out for a nice dinner tonight. You know what I'm saying? Now, Bitcoin, $90,600. I'm viewing this short-term resistance as my kind of selling for long zone in this current scenario. These are 15-minute candles. And I'm treating this upward trend line as a basic support level. But the real buying interest box that I've had on Bitcoin's chart for quite some time sits here at $87,000. And as you can see, that's played out quite often. This is the guts, the POC of the range where we found that support and bounced off of old trend lines that actually come from pretty important levels. So we're going to have a lot of action here. And I want to show you, I listen to other people's ideas and advice quite often. And today, it's all about me. It's all about what I think, because I have used one signal over and over again in my trading career that's worked every single fucking time. And I'm going to be using it again. I don't drink too much of these. Okay. I have a pre-workout in the morning and then about 2 of these per day. Okay. Yeah. See, Elise is making a latte right now. And also, I need to know from you guys. Hold on. Where's my briefcase? So my wife's got me on this health kick. Okay. And I was talking to Piano Man B this morning about it. And I want to know from you guys. Oh, where is it? It's a hydrogen water bottle. Can't remember where I put it. Somewhere around here. Do you guys drink the hydrogen water? My wife's got me on this. And a lot of people say that it's healthy for me. I don't know. I felt a little bit uppity right after I drank it the first time. I haven't really, I think I got kind of immune to it. Unbelievable. You know what? Do you see? All right. So here's where I'm at. We are washing down. We're probably going to see some buoyancy right here at about $89,000. But looking at this chart, I'm open to longs and shorts. My spot heart tells me long, though. DZ called it out perfectly. Ascending triangles, they break to the upside more often than not. And really, the stop point and where I could flip and see, holy God, are we starting to hit the brakes on the sell-off, is when we broke out of this downward trend line. This trend line goes from the previous all-time high. We've been bonking our head on this trend line all the way down. And as of December 25th, Christmas, we had a Christmas miracle where Bitcoin broke out and is now trying to fight back and reverse the trend. This is where we're at right now, undeniably so. Now, this is the daily chart that I'm showing you. These are daily candles of the price action, each one within 1 day of Bitcoin's trading. And right now, sure, there's a little bit of headwind, right? The money flow is looking a little bit soft, yada, yada, yada. But the juice in this chart is right here on the weekly. And we have a double green dot I talked to Crypto Face about last night. He is, very split on 50-50, this being bullish. Honestly, this structure looks way more controlled. Basically a simple washout to the downside, resetting price for more gains. And not to mention, the last time we saw an autonomous zone like we saw with Chaz in Seattle in June of 2020, we were at a $9,000 Bitcoin. While all the chaos on the cultural side happened, Bitcoin went on to rally by 550%, 580%, right? So I am not of the opinion that I'm going to sit here looking at all this macroeconomic craziness going on and be like, oh no, the prices have to go down because there's uncertainty, right? No, that's not how I operated last cycle. It's not how I'm operating this cycle. And how I operated last cycle, I'll show you exactly what I did. So the main thing, and I wasn't even using Market Cypher when I got into crypto, but when I saw flu season hit, I saw a movement and a need to print a very, very large amount of money to backstop the American economy. In 2019, 2020, I waited for that moment and I struck on March 20th of 2020. Now, it was a pretty cheap Bitcoin price, right? It was like $4,000 or $5,000 in that zone. Got some XRP, got some Chainlink, got some Ethereum. Now, where I decided to sell is very important as well, because I get in when I see these momentum waves printing the green dot and a VWAP reversal happening, but you got to pay attention to when to sell, right? And you have a few impulses to the real peak, but when you get real overheated, about the 100 mark on Market Cypher on the weekly. This is a very, very powerful tool to use. I think I do have a referral code or something like that I can give you if you want. Hit me up in the Discord. But this is a true and tried pattern. And the real thing that I'm looking at right now is these pathetic little money flow waves. They're almost like building a head and shoulders type pattern, and I am prepared for a dip into the red. This moment where we're dipping on the volatility, though, looks nothing like it did when we actually went into the bear market of yesteryear. And really, there's more bottom signals than top signals coming to me. And the 4-year cycle, let's just be clear. The 4-year cycle has been broken since we hit all-time highs ahead of schedule. Flat out. If you want to argue against that, you're wrong. You're wrong. Now, where things sit is the production cost of Bitcoin matters more than anything to me when I find those juicy, juicy, amazing entry points. Right now, the price to produce sits at $74,000. We have not tapped the price to produce cost basis of Bitcoin. We got very close, honestly, within a few $100s on this wick to the downside when the trade war essentially kicked off. That's where my cursor is. X marks the spot. But we have not been able to get there. And you know what the craziest signal that I've gotten this week is that what is going on right now macroeconomically with Iran, Venezuela, China, thinking about blocking NVIDIA chips out of Taiwan. I expected us to finally be able to breach down into these lower levels, 80,000, maybe even a little bit below, and start to see that cascade downward. But instead, what's happened is we're respecting this upward ascending triangle with extreme precision. So, this weekend, by all means, we could come down here, tap this and zip around and blah, blah, blah. But on the weekly chart, if I ain't buying this double green dot, I'm dying, because the last time we had a double green dot, folks, Bitcoin was at $19,000. Okay. The last time we had this signal go off, it was July of 2022. It's been years since I've had this bullish of a signal come. And sure, as you can see from the signal print, there's volatility and you start to build out that floor. But in this zone, I have very, very strong conviction that 10 years from now, when I'm looking at a $1 million+ Bitcoin, I'm going to be absolutely slapping my face if I didn't do everything I can to stack Bitcoin at this under $100,000 level. So this is my game plan. As you know, I had a lot of fun being a degen on the trading charts last year. I created my own fund while everyone's sitting there complaining about how horrible the altcoin season was last year. Honestly, it was not that bad. I created my own fund with leverage, using stop losses, not letting my back be blown out if the trade went against me. But that's the lesson here, is you have to learn to trade and live to trade another day. And I use the weekly for my spot buying intentions, right? So I have been picking up some new projects, actually not really new projects, but padding out bags that I like, and a little bit of new Tau. I did pick up a little bit of Tau when we had that nasty near $200 dip, but let's check out where altcoins are at. Midnight is down by 9%, down 25% on the week. I was looking at about 4 cents as a reasonable toe in the water type level for midnight. Canton, I'm actually up really nicely on this because I DCA'd when it had the dip down here in the 7-cent range. My original buy was right at 12 cents or 11 cents. So I'm up nicely on Canton. feeling good about this one. And really, there are some older coins that are starting to move right now. We have Polygon, DZ with the absolutely crazy call yesterday that Polygon was going to pump. Look at him. Look at this man. DZ is unstoppable. Pump fund, even with all of the SEC investigation and everything, up 11% on the week. Stacks, a blast from the past, up 4%. But I don't know about this whole Bitcoin layer 2 narrative. I don't know. I think like you have higher highs, but I just, the ordinal hype, the excitement around ordinals, all the things I saw going on when stacks moved that way have basically evaporated. I don't see anyone bull posting about layer 2s on Bitcoin. The real things that I see, the tangible reality of the excitement of where Bitcoin's going is getting mortgages that are backed by Bitcoin, loans backed by Bitcoin. And this is a very powerful tool because if you could take a loan against your Bitcoin, then you don't have to pay taxes on the loan, right? That's a very, very important thing. Let's go through the chat. We're talking about Yankee stuff. Hell yeah. Kelly, I think is I can't remember what he said. He's like having to do something. I think it was with his dog, or I can't remember. Maybe he'll pop in the chat. Kelly, if you're listening, also I sent you some money, some crypto. Let's see here. I want to go through the rest of the chat here. We're gonna put creatine. I'm on that creatine, nicotine, caffeine. I think that's it. You know what I mean? No morphine. I'm on all the teens though. Stacks, I don't know about this. Like we see the pump. It's defending a very, very bare bones level. Stacks is, and a lot of these different alts, they're doing the same thing where you have like that true interest level. And sellers aren't selling. We might actually be seeing the altcoin sector start to take off here. I was looking at Bitcoin dominance on the basement as well, but we might as well bring it up here because it's a whole new channel. All right. So it's a head and shoulders design still on Bitcoin dominance. And this money flow looks more rollover-y to me than the standard Bitcoin price chart. The Bitcoin dominance chart looks like it wants down more than the Bitcoin price. And if this head and shoulders, I've already mapped this out and had this out. I've had this mapped out for months and months and months. This is a head and shoulders pattern. And if it does play out, it goes down to right at about 50% Bitcoin dominance over the entire market cap of crypto, right? So if Bitcoin's only making up half of the entire market cap of crypto, that's going to cause a lot of these different altcoins to move very, very ferociously, because you've got to remember, Bitcoin's at a $1.8 trillion market cap, but you only have to go down about 10, 15 projects, and you're down to the 7 billion, 6 billion, very, very small market caps comparatively to a $1.8 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. So it doesn't take much for this Bitcoin dominance to fall and absolute chaos to come to everything under within the altcoin sector. Now, the other news that I saw is this is a good reminder. 80% of dollars in the entire history of the United States were created in the last 5 years. This is the problem with the money supply. This is why you feel so much pressure within the average cost of goods. They sit here and they take one item out of the inflation metrics. They take another one that's going too high out of the inflation metrics. And all of a sudden we got good inflation data, right? Economy's strong and resilient. Oh! You created way too much money over the past 5 years for this sickness within the fiat currency to not be noticed amongst the world at large. And this is what I think Scott Bessent sees. This is what I think Trump sees. Trump viewed Bitcoin as a opponent in his last presidency. He's looking at it as a vehicle of longevity for the US dollar. And primarily, they're going to be using stable coins to use as a Trojan horse into other world economies to drive interest into treasuries. Mind you, that stable coins are being required to set up their backing with US Treasury bonds, US debt, right? So it's a system being built out in the background. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent came out and talked about the regulatory oversight and what's to come for crypto very recently. Let's have a listen to what he's got to say here.
We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment systems. And we will consider reforms to unleash the awesome power of the American capital markets. Americans deserve a financial services industry that works for all Americans, including and especially Main Street.
So he's got some key wording in there. The context of Scott Bessent is that he is the world's top currency general. He brought the UK pound to its knees at the behest of Jorge Oros in the 80s. And this man understands world finance very, very intricately. And what's being done right now is a build out an infrastructure, in my opinion, of course. Everyone else, like buttholes, has their own opinion. But in my opinion, stable coins are being used as a Trojan horse to make their way into other economies across the planet to back the US dollar, US treasuries, the longevity of US supremacy. This is what I think is happening right now. It is a genius plan if you're at the top, 100%, and the dollar will limp on. Absolutely. So now in other news, this just came out right before we went live. We're going to see if this turns into something tangible. Trump is considering eliminating taxes on gambling wins here in the United States. Very, very interesting. Does this play into Polymarket? That's what I want to find out. Does this massive news play into the gains that I know we're making and people across the internet are making betting on Polymarket? And it might fall into that discrepancy of is it gambling? Is it, I think it should be considered gambling. I mean, your prediction markets sound and seem very similar to gambling. But we'll see how they determine that, because they're starting to roll out Polymarket in the US, or kind of priming it for it. So it'll be interesting to see if Trump actually pulls through on that one. And also, Senate Legislative Council is now currently reviewing the crypto market structure legislation. Loomis shared this. There's a lot of discussion about this. And there is some nuance within this that a friend of the channel, Crypto Stevo, has highlighted so eloquently. You read the Clarity Act bill, the government wants decentralized exchanges and DeFi protocols to use full know your customer and other compliance measures. If the bill passes, and it most likely will, a lot of crypto OG cypherpunks won't use DEXs and DeFi protocols that will comply with this. Not sure how this will affect overseas DeFi. He's stabled out of a lot of his DeFi positions. He did let me know he didn't do 90% stabling of Aerodrome. He did 60% of Aerodrome stabling. He's protected himself in case we see massive outflows from Aerodrome, Lido, and Uniswap. But I have some nuance to this. Is the reason why I chose Morpho and Aerodrome for my DeFi picks, not Aave or Lido, is because it's an institutional landing pad for American investors that are going to be pushed to the most trusted crypto base in the United States, which is Coinbase. If you can argue till the sun comes out about, what's wrong with Coinbase and all these other things, but there is no denying that Coinbase holds the largest stacks of Bitcoin of any exchange outside of Binance. And US doesn't really want to pony up with Binance. It's not an American organization. So I think that there's going to be a lot of focused push from institutions here in the US to get involved with Coinbase's preferred DeFi locations, thus the thesis behind Aerodrome and Morpho. Now, we covered this a little bit on the morning show, but there is now $200 billion worth of stealth QE in buying mortgage-backed securities. This is an attempt from the Trump administration to keep mortgage rates down as people continue to get absolutely bludgeoned. And you know what? We're at a stagflationary moment here in the US. 2 years ago, when I said it was coming, no one believed me. Now, every talking head and swinging dick on the internet's, oh, stagflation's here. They were not acknowledging. You could see stagflation from miles away, years away here in the United States. And now they still haven't even fully admitted that it's here. It really makes you question the integrity of the data that we take in. It really makes you question that. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I feel when I see this information coming back. Like they're having to buy their own mortgage-backed securities. They're having to bolster up the economy through their own mechanisms. And it makes me feel much better with my general thesis of why I'm in crypto, is because they're going to continue printing money to patch the holes in our current financial system, no matter what I want or do. It really is the situation I feel in my heart that's happening right now. And I did have some interesting data. Let's see if I have it here. Here it is. So, in terms of mortgage rates, yeah, lock in that fixed rate. You can lock in a fixed rate and refinance lower if it does go lower. Honestly, if stagflation continues, you might see 15, 18% interest rates on mortgages on homes that are an average cost of $450,000. This is something I said on the morning show. Think about this. So, right now, the average cost of a home is around $450,000 here in the US. Crazy, but true. Now, 6 to 7% interest rates, yes, they hurt. But my children, by the time they're ready to start looking at buying their own homes, are likely going to be looking at a 2.5 to 3 trillion or 2.5 to $3 million cost for a home. An average home, in my opinion, 20 years from now is going to be 2.5 to $3 million. At the rate of inflation that we're dealing with right now, that is what my children are facing. So it is my duty to stack as much Bitcoin as humanly possible until the day I die so that my children do not end up financially destitute and not owning anything and acting like they're happy, just like Klaus Schwab told us we should be, right? You remember that line. Now, mortgage rates have dropped to their lowest level in 3 years amid Trump's latest actions. The average interest rate on a 30-year mortgage in the U.S. is down to 5.99%, the lowest since February 23. This comes just days after Trump ordered the U.S. government to buy $200 billion worth of those bonds, and Trump's announcement, which banned institutional purchases of single-family houses. This includes the likes of BlackRock, Vanguard, and Blackstone, primarily. Blackstone has interest in it from BlackRock, but I had to fight that battle, and thank God I was in crypto long enough and focused enough to be able to fight back against that cash bidding war. But this stuff matters. This stuff absolutely matters. Now, when I see all of this macroeconomic chaos happening, and then I go over to this, gold going parabolic in the light of everything happening right now. Gold futures went above $4,500 an ounce as geopolitical tensions rose and uncertainty around protests in Iran drove the flight to safety. But the real thing is Bitcoin is still relatively cheap compared to gold. This is Bitcoin versus gold. And by God, if I'm looking at this from a hillbilly TA perspective, this is a series of higher lows, and Bitcoin is running into that trend line. Actually, we should hop on over to the actual chart and check it out. Ooh, we got a little bit of a pullback on Bitcoin. See if we can get that entry point while we're live. That would be absolutely great. Gold to BTC. Let's see here. I want to find it. I'm going to look on it. It might be AU to be BTC. I'm going to find this because I was looking at that chart, and really gold to Bitcoin pairing looks like it is bottoming out and actually getting ready for a rally to the upside. This is a clear line of higher lows. And for people to say that Bitcoin is going to zero against gold, here's the reality. I was talking to a fund manager that handled major investors that got into gold and silver before the move. These same investors are now taking big chunks of profit out of their gold and silver positions, and they're asking these fund managers about Bitcoin, which is relatively low if you compare it to the S&P, if you compare it to gold and silver. And they're thinking about deploying those big chunks of profits into Bitcoin. Now, here's context. Bitcoin's at a $1.8 trillion market cap. Gold is at a $31 trillion market cap, and silver is at a $4.5 trillion market cap. All you need is a 10, 15% flow into Bitcoin to double the price. Think about that for just a second. And then you look at this chart and you realize that, yes, this is a time frame where Bitcoin is primed to move. Now, there is a lot of macro chaos that's causing gold to go nuts. Trump is looking at, ground operations in Mexico. The UN is closely monitoring the situation. I'm sure they're going to do a whole lot. And he is now offering to buy immigrants for $100,000 apiece from Greenland. So the United States considering a lump sum payment of $100,000 per resident of Greenland to buy their country. Well, I wonder where they're going to get that money from. They're going to have to print it, right? Now, within all of this, there's even more macro chaos in Iran and all this stuff, but I already covered to a degree. I want to get to the crypto stuff as soon as possible. So the copper move must be studied. This is actually something I'm thinking about in terms of economic and infrastructural expansion. The world will experience a copper shortage of 10 million tons by 2040 and pose a systemic risk to the global economy, warns S&P Global. This is a concept we must take seriously. Economic expansion, digital infrastructure, data centers, they're going to be continued and expanded at an exponential rate. The copper doesn't just grow on trees, right? You have to go into the ground, get this stuff. So some of these rare earth minerals are really looking juicy. And the S&P 500 itself hit a new all-time high again today, just constant new all-time highs. As this is all happening, you have the Bank New York Mellon launching a tokenized deposit setup, allowing users to transfer that Bitcoin and crypto directly on chain. The main thing of why I wanted to show this story, there's not much sexiness behind it, but the BNY Mellon is one of the oldest and systemically important banks in the United States. To see this bank rolling out crypto deposits and activity in any form, any fashion, shows me that Bitcoin is here to stay. We are a very new asset class compared to gold. Yes, gold's gone nuts. Bitcoin has done exponentially better in terms of upside since its inception over the past, since 2008 compared to gold. But gold people have their day on the hill and they're celebrating, I understand, but Bitcoin's here to stay. Gold's clearly here to stay, and people are looking where to roll that profit into. Now, let's take a look at the altcoins. As I get into the altcoins, if you have an altcoin in your mind that you want me to cover that's outside of what I'm about to look at, let me know down in the chat if you have some projects that you've been eyeballing, thinking about maybe getting exposure to. But let's look at the landscape of crypto first and foremost here. We have Bitcoin at $90,244. Let's give a quick refresh to make sure all the fresh data is here for us. Get out of my face. All right, so TRX up, barely though. BNB barely up. A lot of red has overtaken the charts. And this is why the chaos of I come to you, I have a bullish signal, but the market is red. Why in the hell? What is this guy smoking, right? It's because I buy when I'm seeing bottom signal. This looks very, very bad, drastic if you look at it from the outside. But honestly, man, I'm mostly just interested in Bitcoin and a few specific alts. I'm not going to be YOLOing into all these. Zcash is one that's definitely on my mind because I want to see privacy win. Zcash developers had a little bit of a tiff with their corporate oversight earlier this week. It caused a big pullback on Zcash, undeniably. There's a little bit of an update on what's happening with those Zcash developers as they're unveiling a Cash Z wallet in the first post-exit move. So it'll be the first product released by these former developers of Zcash after leaving Electric Coin Company. Team confirmed the work has begun on the new privacy wallet built from the Zashi code with plans to let current users move over easily within weeks. This is according to the former CEO, Josh Swillert, in a recent post. The announcement came hours after the entire development team resigned the Electric Coin Company following a dispute over governance and non-profit rules. So with any development, with any firm, you're going to have problems. And it's not that I think that Zcash is this perfect veil of secrecy that's going to protect any eyes from looking at our on-chain activity. No, not at all. But I think the fever pitch and the wish for privacy is going to grow as people's rights deteriorate across the planet. So that's where the general longevity, for me, the hopeful romantic in me, wants to see things like Monero or this new Cash Z or Midnight succeed, because we deserve privacy. As humans, we deserve privacy. These massive corporations have it. Why can't we have privacy? You must ask yourself that question. And it's something that people can lift themselves up and move forward with. Now, I want to go check out the chat here. We got Avicii. I don't even know if that's a token. Ada is baby Bitcoin. Ada not dead, just sleeping. I'd agree with that. It's sleepy. It'll have its moment. Ondo. Let's see here. Say BTCZ. What in the world is BTCZ? Tau or Polygon? Yeah, I picked up some Tau. Polygon was my biggest move last cycle. I haven't picked any up since I G'd it. I might have to take a look at that. I might have to take a look at that. Caspa, what? FRNT. Yeah. What's the liquidity on FRNT? Just Tau, Mamo, ABT, Kita, Plume, Turbo from a meme. Okay. He's risking it for the biscuit, right? Risking it. ETH gang. You got to have the ETH gang. You got to have the ETH gang. Is the Wyoming stablecoin liquidity really at $111? Please send me the link, Pat McCrotch. Please send me the link. So I want to see privacy coins win. This new structure from Zcash into this Cash Z. Kind of funny, all they did is put the little ticker at the back end there, change it up a little bit, reformat, and move forward. Oh Lord. Not much activity on that Wyoming stablecoin. I gotta say, not much activity on that Wyoming stablecoin. Now, Santiment came out and ranked the top RWA-focused crypto networks for their GitHub development activity. This is how much activity in terms of expanding or bolstering the network is happening from developers over the past 30 days. The winners are coming in as HBAR, Chainlink, Avalanche, and XLM. Important signal, sustained developer activity often precedes institutional adoption of real-world usage. But you have to take this with a grain of salt, right? Because there are going to be, you can game these to a degree. You can absolutely game these to a degree. Like the bottom end of this, none of these below number 4 interest me, like literally at all. I can talk decently and feel all right about Hedera and Chainlink. I feel amazing about Chainlink longevity-wise. Right now, the price is garbage, though. Avalanche, probably the most concerning project to me out of the top 4 here between Hedera, Chainlink, and Avalanche and Stellar is Avalanche. And I want to know from you in the chat, if you had to pick a coin that worries you the most in terms of it might just absolutely crap the bed, which coin would you pick? Hedera, Chainlink, Avalanche, Stellar, Chia Network, Axelar, IOTA, VeChain, Injective, or Origin Trail? Which would you pick? Yeah. Just let Ada go, guys. She's not good to you, God. God, I love it. All right, so Elise is thinking AVAX is the most concerning. Yeah, you're all right. You're going with AVAX to VeChain. I want to know what you guys think about these things because sentiment matters, man. Sentiment matters in the crypto community. And I'll say you guys and a lot of the people that are still willing to look at crypto prices while things are down are the conviction holders, right? You're the people that are out here buying when everyone's left and all things look so terrible. You're out here buying or at least paying attention to the markets. And that's a recipe for success, is moving against the grain, moving against the general consensus, and making moves while everyone is asleep. Now, Arc of Intelligence has made some moves, and it's actually about a project I want to go look at. Notice of chain removal, Manta. All right. Arkham periodically evaluates chain integrations for continued maintenance based on the user demand and their importance to the crypto ecosystem, among other factors. Based on recent reviews of our team, we will be removing support for the Manta blockchain from Arkham Intelligence on Sunday, the 11th of January. Not looking good. Let's go over to the Manta price and just see what the hell this thing. I've heard of this coin here and there. Let's go check it out. So the volume barely down, market cap barely down. These are weekly candles, and that looks very dead. This looks very dead, understandably so. And this is still at a $35 million market cap. Not llooking great. Now, all right, so let's just imagine Drew owned Manta and I wasn't paying attention up till now. And I look at this chart and I'm about to have a heart attack, I want to find out, is this dead? Am I screwed? Is it over with? Let's go see if they're scamming their X account. Shall we? Manta Network, largest. All right. First thing, we have too many layer 2s. Let's just all get on the same page here. We have too many layer 2s. And modular, it's not the thing anymore. Now, and this is why you got to pay attention to altcoins very heavily. So we look at the likes because bots often post the same velocity. So says 313 likes, 88, 28, 38, 72. Most of these posts outside of the pin one are between 30 to 80 likes. And this is for a project that supposedly bolsters 740,000 followers. I'm out. Is dead. That looks dead. Very bad. Very sad. Right. I'm not going to be falling for this stuff. There are a couple projects that, got me. What project got you in 2025? In 2025, the project that screwed me out of gains the worst. Let me think here. I think it was. I really want to dig deep. I didn't lose too much. I think Mamo screwed me out of the most gains. Let me see here. Because I earned it. I got it as an airdrop. I didn't really spend any money on it, but this thing has absolutely collapsed. Let's check it. Jesus, Murphy, Mary, and Joseph. Yeah, Mamo is the worst thing that I held last year. All right. And then I still do have some of this. All of them lost 4K. Karate Combat. Oh my God, that's right. Karate Combat had a token. Zab, what are you buying? Yao buy? Hydra gotcha. Casper gotcha. It happens to the best of us. Arrow and Ada. What are you doing? Stop top blasting Aerodrome, Dion. Jesus. Saw my Say bag recently. Could maybe buy a coffee with it. Stop top blasting charts. Jesus Christ, Dion. Unbelievable here. Yeah, but right now we're in a moment where a lot of people are banking and expecting on a grander market collapse. And for me, I'm just not seeing it. Like I'll hear the excitement about the upside and the scaredness about the downside. But honestly, dudes and dudettes, if we see $74,000 Bitcoin, that's my back up the truck moment. If we get into the green box, I'm stealing my neighbor's cat. I'm selling it on eBay and I'm using the proceeds to buy Bitcoin, right? This is where all of my tether is going to be. Like every single dollar in tether would be deployed into spot Bitcoin if we get to this green box. Where we're at right now, I'm just in a zone of printing more through trading. I did pick up a little bit of Tau, and let's have it on over to Tau. Tau halving recently happened, and Tau is one of those ones where there's so many different AI options that I don't like just picking one main winner, which led me to bullishness on virtuals, which I'm still feel pretty good about virtuals. Because that's where a lot of AI agents get developed out of. But the Tau ecosystem is a very direct development network for AI protocols, right? So I feel very, very good about Tau in general. I have since $40. Seeing it defend 200 viciously 4 times now makes me get the vibe that we're starting to bottom out. It really, really does. And again, this has the green dot on the weekly. Look at these pumps. The weekly green dots are telling us what's coming, you guys. Let's just map out what happened to Tau the last time it had a green weekly dot. It pumped by 85%. Time before that, I'm not skipping any beats here. We're taking every single signal. Time before that, 170% pump from that green weekly dot. What's this? Let's check out this one. All right. So this one pumped until your first sell signal, it pumped by 200%. And of course, the initial one, I guess I'll count it because I was bullish on this thing back at $40. So you're damn right, I'm counting this. October, September, you remember Blockchain Basement, we backed up the truck, baby, and we G to that. So 1,593%. Okay. Every single weekly green dot on this chart has printed massive, massive gains. Yeah, DAG, that's a good reminder. God, I still hold my DAG. I think I'm down I bought it for 2 cents. It's like a 1.3 cents or something like that. So I'm definitely down on that. I hold that bag, but that one's been aggravating. Ooh, Islamic coin is up by 691% this month. Huge. Oh my gosh. That is absolutely massive, massive. Like this chart, you know what this chart reminds me of? This chart reminds me of XRP. This psychopathic community of XRP is holding down the fort. Look at XRP go. Look at this little coin run. Okay. It is defending itself with gusto. Unbelievable. So it's washed out. The real points of interest that we were shown on October 10th are $1.20. There's a lot of interest in the top end of this previous pump zone. I was able to bolster it back up, but it has held pretty dang well. Now, on the weekly, it's been a heck of a crazy ride, but the people that aren't going to be selling this thing, they're going to be holding it. I saw a lot of this go on in the in Twitter and in this chat. What is going on with Jake Claver? I earnestly don't know. I don't know anything about it, but I keep seeing this guy's name brought up. Please inform me about what is going on with that, right? So this XRP chart, yes, my wife bought it to hedge against my vicious aggravation with a Ripple and XRP. So she's added even more XRP to the portfolio. God help us. But you know what? She ends up, me and my wife combined are like the perfect trading group, because I know when to get in, and then she knows when to push me over the edge of getting out. And don't take that weird, because I got 4 children, so I'm not good at the other side of getting out. But oh my God, she's gonna attack me now. Don't send that. She's gonna attack me. He's just weird. Okay, is that what everyone's going off about? Pump maxi, normalize flipping sentiment on top projects. Scam. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Well, from where we're at right now, you guys, like, honestly, I've used these weekly green dots for many, many years, and they've worked out very nicely for me. And what I'm seeing on Bitcoin is telling me that if I'm not buying this Bitcoin pullback on a double green dot and it pumps from there, I deserve all of the pain to come to me, right? And if I am so lucky as to get Bitcoin at the production cost at $74,000, the previous all-time high, well, hallelujah, right? Use the tether, use the trading bot in our Discord. Actually, the trading bot's almost done. The trading quant putting out some plays today. It's been pretty flat today, but the quant has helped me short this move all the way down, because I was hearing crank up here in the 116. I was like, there's no way. And then my quant came out. Like, yeah, short. All right. I shorted, unzips the pants, shorts the projects down. It's been great. New tether. Now I'm buying up again, right? I'm buying up again. It is what it is. And honestly, I think Market Cipher is one of the more powerful trading tools to use out there. So I'm going to create my own fund once again this year, right? I have my spot positions to go nuts. And honestly, I am unafraid. I am unafraid of what is to come, because I know in my heart that this government is about to print 10 to 20 trillion dollars within a very, very short amount of time. A decade goes faster than you can imagine. So you must pay attention to these things, or we'll be part of the group of people that's looking for some way to buy a $2 to $3 million house 20 years from now. Instead, we lock in now, we protect and expand our future and our children's future forever. This is the goal behind blockchain. We can do it as a group, and you can do it. You can help me do it by sharing this show, by liking the show, by supporting, by engaging. Get in the Discord, become my friend. You know, you might never know. I might have a day like today where I'm just Oprah with Tether, right? That's what it is. Still doing crypto and chill tonight. If you're interested, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, send me the link, vet. Send me the link. And you know what? We're in a time frame where we're going into the weekend. I'll let you know on the Discord server if I am live with a trade. I will let everyone know. I'm going to be doing more of my trading on Asian and weekend hours. Today, I was on Piano Matty B's in the morning, DZ in the afternoon, Blockchain Basement, and then my final thoughts to you today on Discover Crypto with what signal I'm seeing that's absolutely set up to skyrocket Bitcoin. And if this chart that I think is going to take off from the moment that we're at right now does indeed do that, that would be the most hilarious result. That would be the most hilarious scenario, because everybody is waiting for that $65,000 Bitcoin. The hilarious thing for the institutions to do, oh, never mind. Actually, we're chill. We're going up. and 2026 is a hell of a lot of fun. Either way, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to be good to my neighbors, and I'm going to make sure to bring you all of the truth as it unravels in front of me. That is my name. I'm going to stick to this. I have built out my community through doing this, and there is nothing else that's more important than spreading the knowledge, the truth, and taking care of my family and spreading the message of God. I love you guys. Have a
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.